Thank you, New York Times, for pointing out that political comedy is dead. And also, thank you for giving us a bit more political comedy by blaming Trump for it. I kid you not. How President Trump ruined political comedy from the New York Times. The Trump years created a bumper crop of liberal comedy shows, all of which have been canceled. Why is the president so impervious to satire? No. There are many great things to mock the president on. You can mock Obama, Bush, Trump, anybody. The problem is you can't dump all of it in this regurgitated, repetitive, tiny hands, orange face garbage and think we're going to laugh about it. My friends, I encourage you to follow George Alexopoulos, Gprime85 on Twitter and Instagram. Why? Because he's actually got some comics that are about Trump that are funny. Here's one. It's before the debate, and it's a comic. And they say, Mr. President, there's like a little tiny Trump standing on a desk. Are you ready for the debate? Then it shows them lifting up this tiny Trump and putting him into a giant exosuit, and steam sprays out as he enters. And then he tightens his tie and he says, "Bigly." And it's funny. It's funny. You can make fun of Trump and be funny. Lots of people do it. In fact, I do tons of impersonations of Trump. Excuse me, wrong. And people laugh and have a good time. You can imitate Trump and you can mock him. That's not what they're doing on these shows. These shows are cookie cutter garbage trying to create a plastic replica of Jon Stewart. How sad. I grew up, I was watching Jon Stewart in The Daily Show and I'm laughing and having a good time. But Jon Stewart was fair for the most part, and he was honest. Take a look at what they say. Now, mind you, the big news is the shows are getting canceled. Good. They're trash. Earlier this year, before everything happened, I went to New York City to survey the state of American political comedy, which has never felt more important or more fraught. At a taping of Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, I met a woman from Astoria who had brought a birthday present for the host, a mock campaign poster promoting Ripley Hicks 2020. The two main characters from Aliens, emblazoned with the slogan, "It's the only way to be sure." That's a cool poster. At Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, I watched the warm-up guy wring big laughs out of a malfunctioning t-shirt gun, firing 3 or at best 4 rows back into a house packed with cheering fans, people who seemed genuinely to feel part of the movement. A wave of laughter crashing against a president who was, if not washed away, bound to erode at any minute. And then on a blustery Thursday night, I went to the program that started it all, The Daily Show. From a soundstage near the western edge of Manhattan, I watched Trevor Noah put on a clinic in audience management. During one segment, he transitioned smoothly from his impression of the president to a righteous condemnation of sectarian violence in India, followed by a joke about green text bubbles. It was everything the genre now aims to be, breezily informative, morally upright, and funny enough that the house knew when to laugh. After the taping, a Comedy Central rep led me backstage down a hall that transitioned from production industrial to modern corporate decor, and through a warren of offices. This is just the worst kind of writing. Just tell me what happened, dude. I was surprised. What is this? I asked if there was a type of joke they had learned not to do. Sarcasm. People are so emotionally invested, he said. You almost have to not couch things in sarcasm because people will momentarily wonder if you're not on their side. Doesn't that show that y'all have lost the plot if you can't be sarcastic? This is the funny thing about Twitter jokes. I have a friend who's like very progressive, and she was telling me like, the things you post on Twitter, you don't understand. People think they're real. And I'm like, they're the obvious sarcasm? When, like I post things like, oh, gee, great. It's wonderful that mail-in ballots are broken and people are being disenfranchised. Yes, people think you mean it. Well, then those people are dumb. If you don't get the joke, it's not my fault. Are you telling me that millennials are that stupid? Oh, I'd believe it. Millennials are dumb. These are Gen Xers who are watching The Daily Show for the most part. And I grew up watching that too with like older folks and my parents. And maybe that's why I had a better understanding. And maybe that's true for you too. Jon Stewart's fantastic. Jon Stewart is critical of the president. But Jon Stewart also praised the president on helping out with the 9/11 relief fund for the first responders. That shows me that Jon Stewart may have criticisms for the president, but he's willing to be honest about when the president does good. That's all that I'm looking for. Give me a sense that you actually care about what the president's doing. Now, of course, I think Jon Stewart is a little bit of TDS for sure. But Stewart also pointed out that all these journalists take Trump's insults personally and respond in kind. And that creates serious problems where we're not getting news anymore. Here's what we say. Flan added, we have to signal to the audience, hey, we know how you're feeling because your audience is dumb as a box of rocks. Is that what you're saying? That's what you cultivated. The smart people left a long time ago, dude. And they weren't on the right back in the previous generation. We used to laugh and mock Fox News because they said dumb things. Well, guess what? You guys kept your dumb people, and the smart people got turned off by how dumb your content was. Samantha Bee, full frontal, garbage content. John Oliver, the same repetitive joke. It's current year, little Timothy. Thanks for using my name all the time, John Oliver. But I don't get the point you're trying to make. Just saying Timothy over and over again. Trying to imply there's a little kid somewhere? Sure, fine, I get it. Guess what? The little kids of that generation grew up, and now I'm sitting right here. I get it, it's a joke. I don't mind it when you do the joke one time. But seriously, you watch John Oliver and you're like, bro, I get it. It's the same joke every single time. You're not telling me anything. You're just going like, I saw a guy once who had a gun. Can you believe it? Guess who else had guns? Nazis. And I'm like, I kid you not. That's like the basis of a joke he just did in a previous segment. And I'm like, that's not funny. That's not a joke. Jon Stewart was kind of like George Carlin. He would tell you a joke that was true, and you would laugh because it was true. Now what do we get? Formulaic, dishonest, bad faith insults. Yeah. Like when Samantha Bee made fun of PragerU. It's like, dude, I get it. You're a tribalist trying to earn tribal brownie points, but you're not funny. Even Jon Stewart praised Project Veritas because Jon Stewart was telling you the truth, and the truth is funny. You ever watch The Simpsons? I'm reminded of that episode where Krusty the Clown is like going through a ratings tumult. It's like his ratings are dropping, whatever. He's going to quit the show. And then, I think it was the Gabbo thing. It was like Gabbo showed up. Everyone liked Gabbo better. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyway, Krusty the Clown is not funny anymore. So he's doing a press conference where he's retiring, and he starts insulting the crowd and their intelligence, and the journalists all start laughing. And he goes, why are you laughing? I'm just telling you the truth. And the guy goes, because it's funny. And he goes, hey. So then Krusty changes up his act, ties his hair back, and it's very George Carlin-esque, where he starts just telling people the truth and they're laughing. There used to be real jokes in this. George Carlin was the master of this. He could tell you a joke and a truth and you would laugh. Jon Stewart picked this up and went along with it. He would tell you the jokes, tell you the truth, and in his exasperation at the absurdities of the modern condition, you laughed about it. Now what we have are a bunch of morally superior tribalists who aren't telling you the truth. They're just telling you canned, plastic joke formulas that they think will make you laugh because it's what you want to hear. And that, my friends, is Clapter. Not laughter, not clapping, Clapter. You see, when George Carlin would say something like talking truth about free speech, it was a political point, it was true, and you'd laugh. And then he would say something like, the government sucks. And you'd laugh and be like, I feel your brother. A little bit of Clapter in there. But the reason why I won't call what George Carlin got Clapter is because George Carlin actually told jokes. What we get now is John Oliver going, isn't the orange man bad? And then everyone goes, woo! They start screaming and clapping like, yes, he said it. He said orange man bad. What he tells us is not funny. It's not informative. It's deceptive and it's manipulative and it's designed to make you laugh because you're hearing what you want to hear, not the truth. That's just the problem with modern comedy. So here's what they say. Here lies the big problem facing The Daily Show and its offspring. Consumers of this brand of comedy are so horrified by Trump that irreverence can feel like betrayal. No, that's not true. They're not so horrified. They're just like, what's the right word? Oh, they're paranoid and delusional. It's the end of the world. Orange man bad. Dude, lighten up. Man, I remember back in the days of Jon Stewart. The Daily Show is not The Daily Show anymore. Trevor Noah is not particularly funny when he's doing this stuff. I think Trevor Noah is a good comedian. I think he's done great stand-up in the past. But now they're trying to embrace this morally indignant crowd of righteous leftists. You can't even make jokes without getting attacked. That was offensive. Then you look at, you have a bunch of these comedians who are trying to do these same canned fake news garbage shows with canned, look, listen, when we would see the old school Colbert and he would do interviews that were designed to be funny, you'd laugh because you knew he wasn't trying to inform you of the truth. Today, they manipulate and insult people in bad faith. That's what we're getting. Here's what they say. The boom and, wait. This is the best part. From 96 until the second term of George Bush, The Daily Show was effectively the only program of its kind. In 2005, the Colbert Report gave gave the most popular Daily Show correspondent a half hour of his own. The boom began a decade later when HBO aired the first episode of Last Week Tonight. Since January 2015, another 7 liberal clip shows have premiered. Full Frontal, The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore, The Opposition with Jordan Clapper, Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj, Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas, The Jim Jeffries Show, The Break with Michelle Wolf. As of today, all of those 7 but Full Frontal have been canceled. And good riddance to your fake news and unfunny trash. The boom and bust overlaps conspicuously with the political career of one Donald J. Trump. In theory, Trump should be the best thing that ever happened to liberal comedy. 5 years ago, when he announced his candidacy after descending the escalator, blah, 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 blah. You know the problem is? The joke isn't Donald Trump. The establishment isn't Donald Trump. You are the establishment. Imagine all the people wearing their punk rock vests, shaved heads, and tattoos saying, "I'm punk rock, man. I'm all about Netflix and Amazon Prime. Yeah." What? And yeah, cultural establishment. Woohoo! You're not punk rock, dude. The media and the governor and the government, they're supporting the Black Lives Matter stuff you're doing. My word, you're the cultural establishment. They made 7 TV shows for you. You're not challenging the status quo. You are the status quo. And it's not funny when you just prop the status quo up. You're punching down. And when the media just rails on Trump all day, every day, we get tired of it. You can criticize the president, but come on, man. The joke has been played out. Talk about something else. You know what I like? You know what makes me laugh? You ever play that goose game? It's the best game ever, I swear. Listen. You play as a goose, okay? It's on the Switch. You play as a goose, and you run around, and you harass the townspeople. That made me laugh more than I've laughed in a long time. I kid you not. That's all you do. You're a goose, and you honk. And then you grab the dude's keys, and they chases after you, and you're honking and flapping your wings. Isn't that funny? You know, we've been beaten over the head nonstop for 4 years about Orange Man bad. Can you believe it's current year and the president is bad? And it's just not funny anymore. No. I don't try to be funny on my segments. I just try to talk about how I feel. And sometimes I guess it's funny. I don't write jokes. I don't have punchlines. But periodically people tell me that sometimes I'll say something funny. Isn't it crazy that in my effort to just talk about my feelings, people are more likely to get a laugh than watching any one of these shows that all have been canceled? Something is wrong with your comedy. You're not telling us any humorous truths or absurdities. You know what's funny? Pointing out all of the insane segments from the left and the stupid things they say about Donald Trump. Oh, but that's defending Donald Trump, so we can't do a liberal show that defends the president. Your world has been shattered. Sorry, there's nothing left for you to make fun of because you are the establishment. It's boring. I'll leave it there, whatever, man, you get the point. Good luck to all of you liberal late night entertainers. I mean that as a joke. I'll see you on the next segment.